These are now the responses. It is not signed anywhere. It is not on letterhead. So in the absence of that covering letter, then really these responses do not belong to anyone. That is a major issue.
The letter written to the Senate, you know, you don't sign every page. The letter written to the Senate has this as the attachment.
That's what I'm saying.
And we have no reason not to respond on those issues.
So you just need to show us the receipted copy, and then we close the matter.
Honorable members, I'm just waiting for communication from the clerk on the stamped letter. If the stamped letter comes, then members will decide on the way forward. But as it is now, the documents in the files prepared by Nairobi City Water, they are not signed anywhere. They're just plain document. If you are given this file, you may not know what it is, who the owner of these documents are.
Chair.
So that would be
Chair.
a serious problem.
Chair.
Chair, maybe. Yeah.
Just one moment. The clerk, unless I had my own things, the clerk has indicated that the document before us arrived this morning. Did I hear that?
Yes.
Am I the only one who heard that?
Yes. I heard that.
If the documents arrived this morning and the letter arrived on the date that is being talked about, what are we talking about? Are you saying that, Governor, when you sent the letter, you sent it before these documents on the day that they came? So then these documents, how did they arrive to us this morning? Why are we playing a cat and mouse game with the Senate here? Yeah?
Chair.
You can't say that the forwarding letter of document that you sent, the forwarding letter came earlier, and then the documents came this morning. I mean, and that's why it is the issue of timeline.
Honorable members, I want us to be very clear. The clerk indicated that the document they received today, but the same document were received earlier. Can you clarify that position? Because there are two receipts that have come, one today and another earlier. The one that came today came via email, according to the clerk.
Chair said we have received are also not owned. That's what I meant.
Chair.
So, Chair, the first documents were not owned. Today's documents are also not owned. So what are we doing?
Chair, let me hear from
Chair, Chair, we are arguing about the same thing. I think what we need to do between the Senate, the clerk of the Senate and the county government, let's wait for whichever letter comes first that will show there was a receipt, and then from there we'll make a decision. Otherwise, Chair, we are just talking around.
Yeah, that's why I say,
yeah,
if we get a letter,
or from the clerk.
Members, if we get a letter that is stamped received from the clerk's office, then we will know that the documents were actually sent in time on that date when the documents was received. But without that letter, it becomes a bit difficult. I understand the situation, honorable members. So the clerk, if that letter is not there, let us know. If the letter is there, please bring it, stamped letter, so that if the letter is stamped, we will proceed, honorable members.
The documents for today.
But Chair, this is my own personal advice to this committee, that whenever there is conflict between an entity and your own staff as to what the true status is, always believe your staff. Yeah. We have gone through this in other committees as well. In the Committee of Transport, we have had this problem with this same entity, that they claim they have sent documents on time and they have no physical. Because if you came, if you wanted to show this, to demonstrate this, it's very easy, and the county attorney is there. The county attorney knows that if you have a receipt, it is for you to produce a receipt. It can't be for the clerk to look for the receipt. Because the question is being posed to you. But anyway, Chair, I don't know what you want to guide as you wait.
Chair, there is no guiding in this.
No, as we wait for the confirmation, maybe we could process a few other issues that I had requested the committee to allow me to raise as AOB, because it revolves around the same issues of correspondence.
Chair, may you look at the synchrony between the letter that the clerk received, right? Or rather, the alleged letter that the clerk received vis-a-vis the letter that the auditor received. Can we get harmony between those two?
Senator.
Can we just ask the auditor if they are dated the same day?
The letter that the auditor received is from Nairobi Water. Is from Nairobi Water. Is not from the governor. Because us, we wrote a letter to the governor. So the governor was responding to us. But the responses were, I believe they were done by Nairobi Water. So Nairobi Water wrote to the auditor with an attached letter. That is the letter they have.
On different
the same
dates.
letter.
On different dates.
What dates are indicated there, auditor?
Chair, the letter received from Nairobi City County is dated on the 17th of June 2025, signed by the managing director and also copied to the clerk of the County Assembly of Nairobi.
17th June. And from the governor it was 20? What time? 26th of June.
16.
16th. Senator Amida?
No, I just wanted to say that when a governor being the CEO of the county under Article 179, I think you should have just made sure that all these documentations, and if I had Yusuf right, was that he said such copies are also sent on soft copies, and the soft copies also could suffice.
Chair.
Yes,
The
Governor.
document that I sent with the responses was received by the Senate on the 20th of June, 2025. I have the stamped copy that is being printed. It is stamped received at the Senate.
So you can table it.
Chair, I've asked a very
This
substantive question.
is a scan. When we do that, we scan.
Chair, I've asked a substantive question. If the letter to the auditor went on the 17th, how is it possible that the letter to us came on the 16th?
Because I'm
rather
the
dated
one
on
who
the
wrote
16th.
to the Senate.
Was it an anticipation? Yeah, I have the letter.
Chair, the question
Very
was
serious.
whether the letter was owned, whether it came on time. Your clerk has told you it came on time,
Yeah.
and I have the evidence that it was received by yourselves. I think we are splitting hairs for nothing. Let's go to the substance, Chair, respectfully.
Yeah.
And I have it here, received by the Senate.
Yeah, let me have a look at that letter.
Yeah, I'm getting it printed.
What is the issue?
Yeah, Chair, there were a few issues that I had hoped that we would have a conversation with the governor, and it is revolving around water issues in Nairobi. Governor, in all honesty, I also have a problem with the office in terms of how they treat correspondence. Your office never responds to correspondence. And this is not just from me. I have letters here from members of the County Assembly addressed to your various departments, and the complaint is the same throughout the leadership of Nairobi, that your office does not respond to correspondence. The first one, leaders that I've spoken about, and I had written to you on the 27th of May 2025. This letter was received in the office on the 28th of May 2025. I have a copy here with me, Chair, and it was regarding water connections in Ruai Ward. And there has been no response, Governor. I had occasion to run into Engineer Muguna at the airport a few weeks back, and I asked him the same question, but there has been no response. So it becomes very difficult for us as representatives of the people to give feedback to the people when we can't ourselves be given that information. So perhaps we could start there, Chair. If the governor is in a position to answer this today, because this is the only place we can now have this conversation, it is possible. You can say maybe you will need time to answer, but maybe that's because the water company is there. The residents of Ruai are concerned about delayed household water connections. And the information we got was that the major pipeline project by Athi Water Works and Nairobi Water was largely complete. There are over 22,000 households that have paid 5,000 shillings each for connections, and yet those connections have not been had. Is it possible for us response today on that particular issue? Secondly, Honorable Chair, there's a meeting that I held with sewerage system, specifically in Roysambu Ward, and the complaint there, Honorable Governor, was that the residents of Nyati Drive in that particular ward were omitted from the construction of the sewerage that was going on. And perhaps you can also, if it is possible today, Governor, give a response so that the people of Nyati Drive know the current situation. Thirdly, Honorable Chair, there was a request from the Honorable Sospita Mumbi, who's the MCA for Roysambu, for construction of a borehole at GSU Primary School and Secondary School in Roysambu Ward. There's a letter to you, Honorable Governor, to your Chief Officer for Water, and it is received on the 21st of February 2024, which is more than a year ago. There has been no response, Governor, to the Honorable MCA on that particular request, just to say yes or no, so that he doesn't waste time running around offices. And lastly, Honorable Chair, this is a letter from the Marurui Residents Alliance, and they were raising questions of the sewerage coverage within Marurui as well. Honorable Governor, I'm sure you are familiar with this matter, that has left many high-rise buildings unconnected to the main sewerage line. So perhaps, Governor, if you can identify any of those issues that we can get responses today as we wait for the committee to get its act together, then maybe you can indicate. But if you do not have, I would appreciate if there were formal responses coming from your county government whenever leaders raise this question, so that we don't have to waste too much time on it. I thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you. Senator Sifuna, you know that matter can be raised under agenda AOB. So on the basis that it's a very important issue and you had asked the committee to bring up that matter, I think we handle it as AOB. So I'll bring the AOB first before we go to agenda number 4. So Governor, you can respond to your senator on the issues that he has raised.
Chair, the more detailed ones, they can get a response a bit later. But what I know, for instance, in Ruai, parts of Ruai would are now connected. We've had a challenge. That's the biggest ward in this county. It's possibly an 8th, In Kasarani constituency, right now for the water, we have reached Kangundo Road to Ruai Market. And then there's a pipe from Jiru Railway Station that goes towards to cover the Infinity area. That is already ongoing. And there are many others, because that goes hand in hand with the Utawala. Yeah, the Utawala area. It's a similar part. And there are many other laterals that we're doing around that area. So I will ask the MD to maybe just give, not now, but to prepare. Yeah, because Kasarani has two sides. There's the Kamuru side, Ruai, Mwiki, and this other side of Santon. Currently for Siwa, at Kasarani police station, yeah, we're developing, there's a diversion that is now connecting to the trunk Siwa along Mwiki Kangundo Road. That one is something that is also ongoing. I think it's a great opportunity to give a larger update of all the improvements that have been going on in the last year, and I will be able to share that with you, Senator. Including, I think, what would form part of today's discussion on the what we call reshrilling, of the piping in the CBD, because a lot of the reason you have that non-revenue water is because of the old pipes that have leakage and connected to the old fire system in the city. And as soon as that is done, now we'll reduce the non-revenue water by 2,000 cubic meters per hour. Yeah, that is what is currently ongoing. For the Santon, there's Clay City. There's Kariobangi North at National Concrete, that is also ongoing. The side of Kawangware 46, all the way coming into Chalby Drive. You also know that we're doing 54 kilometers of trunk sewer, 1.8 by 2.4 meters, that goes hand in hand with the river program. South Sea is a place that has had similar challenges. What we have there is something called condominium sewers. Those condominium sewers are sewers that are not on a wayleaf, that are in people's property, just like Isili, because of the planning. But now we've been able to get a major pipeline from the northern bypass coming into Akiba, connecting to Ole Shapara, down until Kongoni Primary School. Then at Kongoni Primary School, where we have the Kenya Power substation, it connects to the larger trunk sewer. And then now we're doing further laterals along the Ngong River line. So, I mean, Chair, I can give a lot of that. As for the MCA who wants a borehole, we do a lot of induction, and we tell them how to get a project. Projects are not received by a letter. They are budgeted for, they are appropriated by the MCAs themselves. In fact, they even indicate that this financial year we're going to do boreholes in this place, or we're going to do a road in this place. And so it's part of that process. I think maybe the issue is him being told or responded to. But that is really the process. You know, we don't give projects based on request by a letter, but based on a medium-term framework, an appropriation bill, and it's a process you all know because you're legislators and you're also going through the same. Chair, on water, I think it will be of benefit for this committee and for Nairobians to know we've made huge improvements, increasing 160 cubic meters, 160 million liters a day, courtesy of NCT1 and Karimenu. And many of you might attest to increased water. So if you need me to go through that, I'll be able to
Governor, just to be specific to the areas that we've raised.
Yes.
What would you say, like, of the 22,000 households that had already paid for connection in Rwai?
That's what I've told you is ongoing.
Just give us a status and maybe the reasons for the delay. There are also allegations that some people had paid and they're being asked to pay again. This 5,000 shillings, is it receipted?
Of course.
They are
That's the way
receipts.
it is paid. I'll ask the MD to give you details of that, and maybe also he can talk about Nyati Drive.
Please,
and,
those specific areas.
And Resambo. But for a more comprehensive response, because I'm sure he's also heard it now, we can write back. MD,
Thank you so much.
maybe respond to the issue of the Ruai.
Utawara area, where, just like the governor has said, actually Ruai want to put Miango, Utawara, they take around that 8% of the surface area of the city. And those areas have not been having any of our infrastructure. It's now they are being done by Adi Waterworks and Development Agency. Now, like the work you are asking, Bwana Senator, Adi is responsible for development of the infrastructures there through Credit K 1135 funded by AFD. Now that credit, the work entails doing the main lines, lateral lines, plus the connections. Now that work is not yet complete, Senator. There are customers whose work is complete. We are giving them the meters. But the responsibility of laying the pipes up to the customer premises is being done by Adi Waterworks and Development Agency. It's known as the Water and Sewerage Company, and the credit I've spoken about. A comprehensive report actually can be handed over to you through the governor's office. Immediately we leave here, because we have also been following up those matters on the ground. The customers are ours, they are not Adi's customers. So we have been following up what they are doing, and we have a comprehensive report which we can hand over to you immediately we leave here. On Nyati court of Roysambo area. Roysambo also sometimes back under the NDB funding The same other waterworks development agencies did a lot of projects in those areas. Also, those areas, I'm sure you are aware, there are no sewas. Dome, Maroroi, Ruai, Simaman, they were being developed last year, and still the contract is on the ground. So there will be incorporated if they were in the original designs, the original plan. So I can also counter-check with other waterworks and development agency whether this particular court is supposed to be seaward under this program. On just what the governor has spoken about the bow, GSU Primary School, for heaven's sake, sits just next to the main line along Outer Ring Road. So it shouldn't be having any problem of water at all. That's next to Gumba Estate, which is used by the GSU personnel. Then there is the Ruaraka Primary School, Secondary School. Then there's the GSU Primary School there.
MD, are you confirming that that school is properly served with water?
If
You
it
can
has-
be next to a pipeline and dying of thirst.
Senator, what I'm implying, if it has any water problem, it's only that we are not aware. That's a simple problem which can be solved by Monday.
Yeah, so you see the problem, Chair, is this. The MD will tell us that the problem can be solved by Monday.
If they have a problem.
Just a minute, because you have appeared before us. The broader conversation we are having is, can you please respond to correspondence from the leaders on the ground? This is a letter that was written in 2024. It has not been responded to up to date. That's the problem we have with the county government. So you are saying this because we are here. When we leave here, we will not get any correspondence or assurances that you're giving, that nothing will happen. That is the broader problem. If indeed this was a problem that could have been resolved in 2024 February, would we be here, Governor? Surely.
Now to Your Excellency and the Senator, for sure, if the MCA knew about this problem, we meet the MCAs almost every month and every day if they want. Our telephones are open. Could have resolved this problem directly. They shouldn't have come to the Senate all the way here. It's a problem which can be addressed. That's why I'm saying.
So the request I will make through the chair is that I want to see the correspondence from his office in 2024 and how they have addressed this problem. Because the leader on the ground has taken a step to write to you. You are responding here today. So please show us correspondence from 24 on how you dealt with this issue.
We can provide.
Chair, just a clarification from the water, is it director or? Yeah. Now, here is Senator asking a question, and you are referring the Senator to the MCA. Does it mean that the Senator has no right to represent the people in Nairobi?
Yeah. So that is completely out of context.
Yeah.
The Senator himself was referring to the MCA, Senator Mudama. And the MD is just explaining that there are many forums that, and possibly even a response. So you can get the letter. The Senator has all the rights to, in fact,
honorable members.
the Senator has a lot of rights. I was a Senator for Nairobi also. And I used to do the same. Chair, I have the letter which was received by the Senate on the 20th of June that has created a lot of, discussion. That is to the clerk, meeting with CPISFT. I received your letter dated 9th June. Attached is our responses and supporting documentation. Your own clerk confirmed that all documentation was received. The letter is stamped. Chair, before I started to give my responses, we were already being greatly accused. Yet this evidence is there. Can that be withdrawn?
Okay.
Yes.
Let me first of all.
And also, please, Chair, if you could return my copy, that one I came with. This is the one to table, the one which has your stamp.
Let me first of all direct on the matter of Senator Sifuna. I think Senator Sifuna has come up with those issues because his letter was not responded to. And that's why he used this opportunity to try and get responses. So let me direct that the letter that he has tabled here be responded to and copied to us. The response is copied to us. because I'm seeing that we are likely to spend more time responding to that in this meeting. So you respond, I think, within 7 days to Senator and possibly copy to us to confirm that the responses have been sent. Otherwise, the clerk has retrieved the signed letter, the stamped letter from the main clerk. So, honorable members, that means that the documents were actually forwarded by the governor. But the only mistake, Governor, which we must point out, is that when your people are preparing the responses, it is a standard that the letter, your letter, be attached on the responses. Even if they are sent on email, they should scan the email and send together with the rest of the document. That is the only thing that was not done.
Chair, the responses were attached to my letter.
But it's not
Are you
there.
saying how you saying we stick it physically or like it was attached? What we received today's documentation is just the same responses were given on time, Chair. And the clerk himself has confirmed that, Chair. But before that, Chair, you had all manner of accusations, including people saying, lecturing me that I've been a senator, I should know these things, Senator Siengo. Honestly,
But,
I've responded and it was not on time.
Governor, I think it is very unfair to come after the members of the committee.
But it's
Because
fair for
at
them
the
to come
time-
after
at the-
me.
Just a minute. At the time when those accusations were being made, that document was not before us. It was incumbent upon you
No, but at that point, I was
to
not given
produce
the right.
the piece of paper.
The accusations were made before I was even given the chance to respond, Chair. And I just had quietly listening.
You know,
So will
that's
those
why,
be withdrawn or do they remain unanswered?
that's why I said, you know, when the documents are not in the file, the members may not know. So they are just.
You can give your witness a chance to respond before unwarranted attacks, where the mistake is from your side. I think that is in good order, Chair.
Anyway, let's just agree that the letter is there. Let's proceed with the substance of our meeting today, which is to look at the audit query.
Yeah, that's
You are so ready.
Chair, that's the reason why I said if those all soft copies were received, there would have been no hassle.
This was hard copy, physical.
Okay, we will proceed, honorable members. But I will allow the governor to officially table the documents that are before us, and then we proceed.
Chair, I want to put it clear that it
Yes.
was not personal. When the governor refers to Senator Siengo, I was doing my work as per this committee and as the records within the committee.
We have passed
Yes,
that stage.
we had not-
Senator. We have passed
We had
that stage.
not received that letter,
We have agreed, we are
and
proceeding.
it is not my work to find out where the documents are.
We are proceeding with the substance of the matter. So, Governor, you can proceed and table the documents.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I hereby table the management responses and accompanying annexures of the Nairobi City County Water and Sewerage Company for the financial year 2023-2024. It's tabled.
Okay. So, honorable members, can see we are doing very badly on time. It is 20 minutes past noon. You have 20 audit queries to process. So I'm just thinking that this meeting will proceed past lunchtime. So we'll proceed past lunchtime with the meeting. So, Auditor, I would like you to proceed from the first query. You give a summary of the report, and then you proceed from query number 1 as included in the audit report.
Give a suggestion because of time.
Yes.
If you look at query number 1, query number 2, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, and query number 4. I don't know if you've gone through them. They're actually very similar. if you can check and the auditor can confirm, I believe those are queries that can be handled together because they are
Query number
1.1, 1.2, 1.3, and then query number 4. Number 4 itself, the trade and other receivables. If you look at those queries, they revolve around customers. This is basically on operating revenue, estimated accounts, billed and not paid for, active accounts, not billed. So if you look at them, you know it is revolving around the same issues.
They may not be exactly the same because a query on long outstanding trade and other receivables, those are customers who owe money to the company and they have not paid for long. But if you look at 1.1, it is about accounts which are billed and are not paying. And in other cases, there are accounts which are active but are not being billed. So those are two different issues. I suggest let's just handle them separately. So auditor, proceed, give us a summary, and then you proceed to query number 1.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. A report of the Auditor General on Nairobi City Water and Sewerage Company Limited for the year ended 30th June 2024. The financial statements received qualified opinion. First paragraph is on inconsistencies in operating revenue. 1.1, estimated accounts for more than 6 months. The statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income, and as disclosed in Note 6 to the financial statements, reflects an amount of Kenya shillings 10,949,295,622 in respect to operating revenue. An analysis of the billing estimates data indicates that 112,612.20 accounts had their bills with an estimated amount of Kenya shillings 524,984,600. Further, the analysis revealed that 15,320 accounts had been estimated consecutively for more than 6 months for the period between 1st July 2023 to that of June 2024. The estimated bills for more than 6 months amounted to Kenya shillings 184,354,986. 1.2, accounts billed and not paid for throughout the year. The statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income, and as disclosed in Note 6 to the financial statements, reflects an amount of Kenya shillings 10,949,295,622 in respect to operating revenue. A comparative analysis of water meters billing and payments reports revealed that as at 30th June 2024, a total of 23,384 accounts were billed a total of Kenya shillings 344,484,421 during the review period. However, the accounts did not have a corresponding payment. It was not clear how the accounts were billed for the whole year, and yet they did not have corresponding payment. Further, there was no evidence provided to show the accounts were disconnected for non-payment of the bills.
Chair, point of order.
Yes.
Chair, in our preliminary meeting, ordinarily we will go through query to query and then establish which ones have got the weight. Of course, some of us who had read the document not knowing there was going to be a contentious issue of forwarding had actually scanned through the query, and all these queries I've seen them, they are very weighty. But during our preliminary meeting, we didn't have the chance to actually go through the queries. So, because we had assumed that based on the fact that they were not forwarded, therefore there was nobody who was owning them. So perhaps I wanted just to ask, before we go to that query number 1 that is finishing to read, how many queries were they and how many were addressed substantially to the auditor?
Auditor, I think auditor had given that information. He said there were 20 paragraphs, 20 queries, and only 2 were partially addressed. The remaining 18 were not addressed.
Does that concern you as a chair?
No, you should say, it's not the chair alone. You should say, does it concern you?
Does that concern the committee? That's just my question to the
Yeah,
chair.
we have 8.
Yes, Chair, I'm equally concerned.
20 queries and
20 issues and only
20
2
issues.
partially addressed.
2 are partially addressed. That's why, honorable members, in the pre-meeting, I said that these queries are all very important. And we may not really demarcate and say these ones are more important than the others. The best scenario would be we go through all the queries as they are. That is why we set entire Monday for Nairobi County, because we don't have a session. We were ready to process all the queries as they are, because they are very, very important. For example, the first query, we are talking about 194 million, where the customers, they have not, their accounts have been estimated because their meter cannot be read. That is a very serious matter that we need addressed. So each and every query, it is weighty. So we cannot say we are only going to address 5 queries and the others will leave. We have to look at all of them. And we have the time. That's why today is a Monday, to spend our time on them and discuss them. For example, the query on long outstanding trade and other payable. We are talking about 4 billion shillings worth of bills which have not been paid. That's a serious matter. So, honorable member, I'm unable to decide which one is weighty and which one is not weighty.
Chair.
I think all of them are important.
Chair, I think the question that Eddie is raising is very important. 2, I think now if they've only addressed partially 2 of the queries, then why can't you, Chair, ask the governor to tell us why the rest have not been addressed, and then we'll give direction from there.
Senator Sifuna.
Yeah, Chairman, I can appreciate the anxiety of the committee because we have spent some good amount of time arguing about ownership of the responses. But if the responses don't respond to the queries, then the question arises what we are doing here. My own advice from our own engagement at the Public Accounts Committee, we usually give the entity opportunity to answer maybe 3 or 4. And if you feel that we are not heading anywhere, the responses are being given unsatisfactory, then there is really no point to go all the way. Because Auditor General, this process is not supposed to be happening before the Senate. The audit is supposed to be completed with the Auditor General. So if they are given opportunity to respond to queries, and the auditor is telling the committee that even after the responses have been received, only 2 of the 20 issues have been addressed, then you must test the responses by the governor on a few issues. And if you feel that there is no movement in terms of the quality of the responses, then you make a decision. Because it will be very unfair for us to just sit here and be told stories that don't respond to the queries that have been raised by the Auditor General.
Chair, as the governor responds, I know the customer's deposit was not one of the questions, but I would want to know how safe is the customer's deposit and in which accounts they are in.
Senator Mudama, I directed on that. I know your passion on
Chair,
yes.
Here he can answer.
Yeah, it will come.
Is here he can answer that.
It
Chair.
will come. I want us to be systematic. We have just started the first query. As Senator Sifuna says, let's proceed.
Yeah.
If along the way we notice that we are not making progress, then we can decide what to do.
Yes, I
But you know, we cannot say we are starting, then we say customer deposit to come. I said customer deposit is an issue. It's not in the audit query. But it is an issue that we have picked. We will raise it at some point, and you'll be given that opportunity to raise it.
Chair.
Honorable Member.
Chair, to make progress, let's test what Senator Sifuna said, so that at least we make progress. You know, we have argued, we've been here for the last almost 3 hours.
Yeah.
Let us proceed the first 2 or 3 questions. If we are not satisfied, then we tell them to go. We make a decision.
Chair.
Otherwise, we will just argue.
You know the issue, the first query has 3 parts. The first query is inconsistency in operating revenue. It has three parts.
Yeah.
So what the auditor was doing was reading the 3 parts, and then the governor will make a response.
Yes.
To the 3 parts.
Let's give
on the matter of operating revenue. And then after that, we will go to the issue of debts, which are about 4 billion shillings. And then from there, the issue of land ownership, which is a substantial issue. Those 3 issues are sufficient to give us direction, a sense of what is happening there.
With your kind indulgence, I'm here to respond to audit queries, all of them. If you can allow us to give our responses, because it's a constitutional process, that's why I'm here. The issue of 2 is to their satisfaction, but responded to the best of our ability, and that's what you can offer. So can you allow me to respond, Chair?
Yeah, I will allow you to respond. So we will allow the auditor to finish the 1.3, reading out, and then the governor will respond to the entire issue number 1, which has 3 parts. Ready?
Chair, I respect that, because and as I said, it's a committee to make a decision. But this is a committee that looks at audited queries. That means that the written responses is what strictly guides my thinking and my thought. You know, I'm saying this actually in favor of Nairobi County and the Nairobi governor, because this is the written responses that the governor has sent. And when you look at those written responses, Chair, with what the auditor is raising as not addressed, they are similar. So it will be an exercise in futility, because even if the governor tells us a lot of stories, at the end of the day when we retire, it is written response that will inform us. And this written response, Chair, 2 things are emanating. They are first, not adequately looking at what the auditor is talking about. They are also not responding to some of these questions that are very substantive. So it's either we choose to spend time going through them, as you have said. I don't have a problem with 1 or 2, 3 of them, but I'm just saving you the face that from what I've read in this, because some of us take the time to read them, okay? From what I've read in this, Chair, is not adequate, and you're going to meet the same. So,
can I make a request just on behalf of the people of Nairobi? I think it is important for these conversations to be had. And Governor, I think you are slightly misguided on an issue, that the audit does not happen in the Senate. It is not us you need to convince. It is the Auditor General who you need to convince. As you would look around this table, many of us are not professionals even in accounting. We are, you know my profession, I'm a lawyer. These officers are here to guide us. They are the ones you need to persuade or convince that an issue has been sufficiently addressed. I am also audited, as you know, as SG of ODM. The responses we give are to the satisfaction of the auditor, not anybody else. So if the auditor says, Governor, that of all this material that you've presented here, you have only partially responded satisfactorily to 2, it should bother you as the CEO of the county. So my suggestion would be the same. Let us try and test these responses, because some of them, just from a cursory look here, are just ridiculous explanations. And if you insist proceeding, Governor, let us proceed.
Chair, that's why we're here, to proceed.
Yeah, honorable members, let's proceed. Let's proceed. So, Auditor, please finalize with the 1.3.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Paragraph 1.3, active accounts not billed, the statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income, and as disclosed in Note 6, the financial statements reflects an amount of Kenya shillings 10 billion 949,295,622 in respect to operating revenue for the year ended 30th June 2024. Comparative analysis of water meters and billings revealed that as of 30th June 2024, a total of 10,192 active accounts did not receive any billing during the review period. It was not clear how the active accounts were not billed for the whole year and yet were still active. In the circumstances, the accuracy and completeness of operating revenue of Kenya shillings 10 billion 949,295,622 could not be confirmed. Thank you.
Okay, Governor, your responses.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman, on the first question, and thank you for the opportunity to respond to that. The issue of estimated accounts for more than 6 months is due to inability to access meters. And I'll allow the MD to give you more details of what we're doing, because the areas where just accessibility, the gates are closed,
Maybe before you allow the MD, just read the responses verbatim, as it is.
To address this, the company is sensitizing the customers on self-meter reading through SMS reminders and the location of meters outside the gate for accessibility. I'll ask him to expand on that.
MD.
Thank you so much, Chairman, the Governor, and the members of the committee. It is true.
Engineer Muguna, just put the mic closer to.
It is true there are meters we have estimated over a period of time. And most of the accounts we estimate, the accounts which we cannot be able to assess because maybe the gates are locked, the owners are not in the house. And what we are doing on such accounts, we have upgraded our billing system so that we can be able to be sending SMS reminders to our customers whom we are estimating their accounts. Once we estimate 3 times, we send you, or rather if we are unable to read for 3 months, we send you an alert telling you we are unable to assess your account. The other thing is, if you become notorious, we actually write to you and tell you the meter must be moved from inside your compound to outside your compound, or where we can be able to assess it easily. And that's what we are doing with the many customers in this category. Thank you.
Honorable members, let me start with Senator Sifuna.
Yeah, so Chair, just let's try that response, Governor. These are 15,320 specific accounts.
Yes.
You are telling us for 6 months, you go and there's no one at this gate. 6 whole months, 6 times, that's half a year before the Auditor General flags it.
Now, what we are saying is we are aware about this account, and this is
That's
what
not
we
the
are
question.
doing.
For 6 months, every single time your officers go there, there's no one at home to open the gate. That's what you're telling the Senate.
Yes.
Okay.
The gate is locked and nobody is landed to open the gate.
Let me hear from the auditor.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Our expectation would have been if an account is estimated maybe in 1 or 2 months, then there should be some efforts to access the bill. I mean the meter readings, maybe the second or the third month. but not 6 months. 6 months, I think, is too long.
Senate ID.
Chair, you'll understand my frustrations, and that's why I was requesting that perhaps this just from the first response, I would have asked the governor to go and respond adequately, because the query is very simple, and I want it to go on record that this is the response that is official. Well, I know they'll be unanswered. The responses that is it the chief officer?
The MD.
The MD is giving is unanswered, yes, but the written response here is very, very important. Chair, that query has got two portions. Okay? There are accounts that were billed and not paid for throughout the year. The governor's response to that entire query is that the accounts are estimated due to inability to access the meters.
No, that's a different question, Senate ID. I was answering 1.1.
Yeah, we are still on 1.1.
Yeah, that's 1.1.
But you're asking 1.2.
No, wait. It is 1.1, 1.2.
The answer I've given, which you've asked me to read out, is 1.1.
Yes.
So wait for me to answer 1.2.
Yeah, I'm coming to that.
But accounts billed and not paid for is not about access.
I'm coming to that. Just be patient, Governor. Okay? You have got 15,000 accounts that had been estimated consecutively for more than 6 months for the period July 1st, 2023 to June 2024. The estimated bills for those months are given there. The reason why they are related all the way to 1.3 is because this is not a denotation. Denotation basically shows what could have explained 1.1 in terms of accounts that were billed, okay, and what could have showed the accounts, active accounts that were not billed. You get what I mean?
No.
So,
you know, I've given my answer. If you have another different answer, it's a different.
No, it's not about your answer.
Are you asking a further question?
It's about the audit.
Honorable members.
Chair, can I seek a clarification for me?
Honorable members, please. I know you are anxious to ask questions.
Governor.
But let's follow the procedure.
1.4.
First of all, the question, it's the chair to give you a chance to ask question. You don't just ask here without the approval of the chair. And then number two, let's be systematic. You know, we are getting mixed up. We are handling 1.1. Let us exhaust the issue of access. Like Honorable Sifuna had asked, surely for 6 months, you can't access the premise to check the meter. I mean, once we have exhausted that, then we will go to the issue number 1.2, which the governor will respond to and will ask questions. Because we are now wasting time by going back and forth on these issues.
So, Chair, my understanding of this query is simple, okay? They are all correlated. There's a correlation here. That's why I wanted to ask that if it's possible,
okay,
let the governor read all the responses up until 1.3, then you'll see the correlation I'm trying to bring. Because when you look at how number 1 has been answered, it informs number 2, where number 2, the issue of billing, the account that accounts billed and not paid have been brought, but the issue of distribution of the modeling is the answer, the response.
They're not connected at all. Number 1 is accounts where you have not seen the meter.
Yeah, Chair.
Number 2, we have billed them, but they have not paid.
We understand that, Governor. Just maybe on that same question, clarification from the engineer or from the governor. Governor, paint for us a picture of these 15,000 accounts. Where ordinarily are these accounts that you would go for 6 months? Are they secure? Is this state house or is it security installations? Where are these places? Because you cannot tell me, with all the force that we see you, with all the force that we see the county government of Nairobi, even breaking down gates, there was an institution there, what was it called, a mosque or a synagogue, that you were clamping for it with all the might of Nairobi County government. You are telling us there's 15,000 people who you cannot access their meters, and also shed some light on who is supposed to do relocation of meters. Whose job is that to do relocation of meters? Engineer. Just tell us where these 15,000 are. Are they security installations? What are they?
So, okay, let me combine the questions. Senator Kisang, Senator Mbugua, and then the governor will respond to all of them.
Thank you, Chair.
And,
You remember,
Amida.
Chair, you remember I told you earlier, number 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, and 4 were very closely related. We would have answered all of them together if you had accepted, but we accept your direction. Number 1, Chair, on estimated accounts for more than 6 months. You know, the governor and the CEO has told us they are doing sensitization, but you know, they have not come out clearly to say they are already giving notices. If I cannot open my gate in Karen, there should be something you will drop under my gate so that in the evening when I come home, I'll have a notice from the county government saying, please allow us, or we give a date so that the meter can be relocated outside the gate. And then secondly, Honorable Speaker, I expected also, the CEO and the governor to tell us, if it is difficult to access, what plans do you have then to install smart meters so that you can disconnect without going there?
Yes, Senator Mbugua.
Thank you, Chair. Governor, I know these responses were prepared for you by your staff, but with all honesty, it is not possible that for 6 months consecutively, the same number of month 1 to 6, you are not, it was not able to access. Probably it would have been, the response number is differing from 1 month to the other. But for it to be consistent, the same number for 6 months, it's not practical, Governor. Your people are misreading you.
Senator Amida.
Yeah, I think when CEO was asked what efforts has he made so far, and when CEO, maybe even for example, even where I live, they always give the who is this person who takes care? Is it the caretaker or someone? Gives notices to residents on when the meters are going to be read, and people, all the gates are opened. What legal and policy measures have you taken so far? Because, it has really taken time. And then how do you implement the fines and the penalties for that? Then how do you schedule the meter? Use inspectors. Because like the Kenya Power, they come once, the next time they disconnect, from even the poles or whatever. So what efforts have you made? It will take about 6 months, seriously. And you've not shown any efforts that you have made.
In fact, this is actually a big improvement, Chair. Chair, 15,000 meters accounts sound so many, but in the wider context, that's 6% of all the accounts in the city, 6%. So let me have the MD answer the specific questions to him. And even, cases even of attacks of this stuff, the areas where they are repulsed, just give them a full context so that they can understand. But within the context of 15,000 out of close to 300,000 accounts that are metered, that are, they're not estimated, Chair.
Thank you so much, through the chair again. Let me put it this way. We strive as much as possible to ensure we read all the meters in this town. And all these meters, we have referenced them through GIS system so that we can be able to assess them when we need. And we know where every meter is. At times, our staff go to those premises, actually, and dogs are opened to them. And we can provide evidence for that. At times, staff are crowbarred properly. We can provide evidence for all those things. And they become court cases where our staff want to read the meter, the customers don't want the meter to be read. Or a staff, or whoever is left in the compound is maybe a house helper, and she has instructions. Don't allow anybody to come to this compound. When you try to go in, our staff and those people opens the dog for them to mow them. Please, we have been trying to ensure we read all these meters. Just like the governor has said, we have around 250,000 account meters to read. We move around the whole city every month and we ensure these meters are read. These ones which we are saying, people, they are not being read. The others we have actually moved outside the compound, and we can provide evidence that we have been leaving the messages which Mheshimiwa is talking about. We leave even written documents to the customers. Please open your gate so that we can read the meters. Without doing that, we are going to move the meters. And we have been moving meters. We can provide that evidence of moving meters from customers' premises to the road. But
so as we speak today, engineer, of this 15
ABY 268V. Nitie gimomiyo en kamano wiya bo wil.
we are sorry.
Okay.
Numbers here. The meters we know them often.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Would you put the movement at 10% so far? What you have done? Because that's the only
that
solution.
number.
Yes.
Of the 15,000.
Yes.
If you don't have the answer, don't answer.
I don't have the
I'm on oath.
Okay.
So you give the.
That's
if you
good
don't know the
guidance.
answer, don't.
Chair, I'd also ask to understand the general geography of this 15,000 meters. What is the spread across the city? Where are these places where people have dogs?
It is citywide.
Citywide?
Yeah, including even a place like Buruburu, the areas where people don't allow you to enter.
But Engineer Muguna, through the governor, have you sought a court warrant to access these premises?
I think it's just it that there are many legal processes, including court cases. I think with such a response, really what I would suggest, Chair, is let's discuss how you can support us to read all of those meters, because we want all those meters, we want that revenue. But we're explaining the context. So you see, if you answer like that, you may not like, we're giving you the reality on the ground.
Yeah,
that is what actually happens.
Governor, we want to help. I think we are in agreement, we want to help. But when you go to the doctor and you tell them you have malaria and it's not malaria, it is something you picked up at summer tides, you know that is a big problem for us. You have to give us the true situation on the ground.
That is the true situation.
The initial answer he gave us here was that they go and find gates locked.
There are gate locks. There are when sometimes if you force the gate to be opened, people open doors, people fight with us.
So how would you like us to help you, Governor? I would be interested to know. Because
we should look at the legislation around how you penalize people who restrict access by public officers to actually bill you, whether it is Kenya Power or Nairobi Water. It should be a huge deterrence. You know, it should be something that is very punitive, and that is a legislation that we can do together with the Senate.
Does that require national legislation? Because it's a matter that is unique for Nairobi.
It requires national legislation.
It's
the same issue in Mombasa.
Have you had this conversation with the Assembly? Because city bylaws are there to help you, Governor.
No. This one needs national legislation because to implement it, you need national police, not Kanjo officers.
Senator Kisanga had asked about the smart meters.
We can
As a
explain
solution
the
to that.
process we are at in getting into smart meters. Maybe you can give an overview.
Thank you so much. On the smart meters, Mheshimiwa, a mechanical meter, or the meters we use today, they have inch meters most of the customers use, who are around 96% of our customers. A smart mechanical meter will cost 3,500 shillings. A smart meter of the same size will cost you around 15 to 20,000 shillings. Now, when you look at what you are going to accrue by changing the meters from mechanical to smart meters, it will take you 20 or 30 years to recover the value. Water is a cheap commodity. The accuracy of a mechanical meter is between 3 to 5%. Accuracy of an electronic meter, I'm not talking about even a mechanical meter changed into a smart meter. I'm talking about a meter, an example of ultrasonic, where you are getting the signal direct being electric. So the errors are very low. That is 0.5 to 1%. Now, when you subtract those errors, That's what the value of the what the customer is billed. The difference between the two errors is what becomes the value you are going to accrue by changing the meters to smart meters. When you do the mathematics, you'll actually be creating jobs in a certain country and denying Kenyans jobs here. So it is not my advice to the country to move to smart meters as we talk today. Okay.
Chair, you see, when you say 15,000 accounts, they look small in number comparatively because of the fact that the governor would look at it like, okay, we have tried to estimate 112,000. But you see, this query is a P&L query. It's a query on revenue lost entirely if you go through it until 1.3. And my concern, Governor, and I still go back to it, and it's in good faith, because the documentation here is to help us when we are sitting now to address the queries. I think you address the queries to the auditors, and then we solve the queries. When we sit to solve the queries, is we at the end of the day go to the written responses. You see everything that you are saying there, Governor. Your response to that 1.1 is just one statement. There is no access. But then what the MD is responding to is more comprehensive than what is written here. You see my concern? Because at the end of the day, how you will solve for this issue is pegged on how comprehensive you capture the challenges that you're facing. And then after capturing the challenges that you're facing, highlight some of even the remedies that could be put in place. Because just to say that, because what I'm going with after listening, Chair, is that one, there is no access, and therefore whether there is because of the dogs or the gates are closed, that is fine. But then the substantive response to it is sensitization to the customers. We will do some form of sensitizing the customers, and then hopefully this will work. The reason why that's problematic is because there's two parts of that query. There is those that add some form of access. That's about 97,300. And then there is those that you have consecutively not been able to access the 15,000 in question. The total of them brings you a revenue problem of over 700 million shillings. That's what should ring the bell. That it's not about the 15,000, it's about or the 112,000, it's about the revenue that's going to be lost as a result of not being able to access them. So I appreciate your response now, which I don't appreciate in your one statement response to the committee. Chair, I don't know whether you're getting what I'm saying. The response here is not comprehensive enough to solve this problem. What you are saying is in fact, I'm now empathetic. But surely, even when Sifuna was asking you about the map, is a question to us going to address where these problems are. So I wish that you could go and become more comprehensive with that answer in your written submission. Because otherwise there's no strategy to address this query at all. And maybe the auditor will be satisfied with the approach of having a comprehensive response to these questions.
Chair, everything we have said is about accessing the meter. If the response is to give wider context, Chair, you'll never respond to all these queries because you'll write paragraphs. Now I start describing dogs and start describing house girls being told not to open gates. The question is, why did you estimate? The answer is there was no access. And this is what we're doing to solve that issue, including relocation of these meters. Now, the reason we come here is to then give further context to the response to our queries. I think that's the reason we have in this session. And it's still part of the process, Chair. So that is our response.
Chair.
The big question, Chair, sorry.
Let me ask Mark to weigh in. And then, honorable members, because of time, let's move to 1.2, the next one.
Thank you, Chair. From the context of the audit, or when we're carrying out our audit, what would have expected for this query to be explained to clearly was, would have expected a report, because we'd expect that the meter readers write reports to their supervisors, to the next level. Until then, we'd see a report indicating these premises will not be accessed because of this issue, and then we'd have expected to see what then that supervisor did towards gaining access. Under the Water Act, we also have the Water Police. Has this been reported to Water Police that we need to access meters for reading? So that then would have formed documentary evidence for us then to be satisfied and to inform this committee that that issue has been adequately addressed. So, Chair, in the absence of that, then we still hold that the matter is still not addressed. Thank you, Chair.
Those are available. I don't think at any point it was asked for.
Yeah.
If you look at the structure, the meter reader is accountable to a supervisor. This goes all the way to the regional manager. Those daily incident reports are available, and we'll be very happy to give them to you.
Chair, just the big question is, why are they being still provided with water? Kwani wanapewa maji mpaka sai?
There are many areas where if you intervene, you will affect those who are properly served, as opposed to these ones who are estimating. And by the way, the issue of estimates vis-a-vis receipts, they are paying. You know, the query is not that these ones who are estimating are not paying, but they're paying based on the estimate, you know. Of course, it will be more efficient if it was, you know, specific, as you have said, which is why I'm saying we need to explore how you help us ensure that Nairobians know it's a crime to deny access to the water meter reader and to the power, electricity, or any other public officer, you know, executing his mandate. So we can give the incident reports, the daily logs. I don't know if were they asked for.
No, they were not asked.
See, Chair, it is for the entity. Once a query has been asked, like that progress report of the number of meters that you've been able to move, what you've done, that would satisfy the auditor, governor, as to what you are doing as an entity. And then you say, progressively engineer that in the next 5 years or so, we will have phased out this issue of estimating meters. And I've never had anyone in this day and age running away from technology that will help you to be able to resolve your problem. So I was a bit shocked, Governor, that it is the thinking of the Nairobi County government that technology is bad. That you would not advise people to adopt technology. We are doing smart meters in electricity, Governor.
That is what your view is. That's not the position. He has explained the cost vis-a-vis the return on the accuracy of a smart meter and what do you call this? The mechanical meter. That's just what he said, you know. Chair, can I answer number 1.2?
Yeah, you can proceed to 1.2, but I just wanted to say, my clerk is telling me that on page 5 of the report, there is a material uncertainty.
Which report?
In the audit report, material uncertainty in relation to going concern.
Which query is
that? Page 5, query number 8. Now, what I wanted to say is that all these issues about losses, they all build up towards that one, because they make now the company be unsustainable. Yeah, because we have that one. If you look at long outstanding trade receivables, 4 billion, so all that will build towards that main query on going concern of the company. So I think it's in the interest to try and find out a solution to this problem, and I think one of the solutions is legislation.
Yes.
Yeah, and there was a bill called the Critical Infrastructure Bill, which was supposed to address such things.
Sure. Yes.
So I think maybe from our end we can try and fast track the legal aspects. But Engineer Muguna, you can't run away from technology. Technology will be expensive initially, but it will help you save a lot as you go on.
But Chair, you don't just adopt technology for the sake of it.
Yeah.
It must give a benefit. That's why you create it. Now, if the cost of it is actually, as you're saying, going concern, is not commensurate. Before you do any new, engagement, you do a viability, you do a feasibility study. You have to look at, what value is it adding to your customer, not for the sake of it. Otherwise, that will be the second query. That's what you'll be asking us next time. So sometimes it sounds very exciting. But and I'll give you an example. We did a whole study with Sureka about not Sureka. There was a big study on solar streetlights. And Chair, these are experts globally who have shown us that we're at the point of technology we have today, because it sounds, let's say, I'll solarize the whole of the city. In 3 years, most of those lights are lighting from 6 to 9 p.m. and going off. And you have to replace. It sounds nice to say, let's run towards this technology, but you have to be prudent in understanding what are the real facts, what is the cost, how do you install it, what benefit are we getting. So, yes, we believe in technology. Chair, that is how we've raised the highest revenue of Nairobi Water. He's told you about the GIS. I have a dashboard. I can tell what everyone is paying every day from across the city, But before I got into office, they had only hit 8.9 billion. First year we did 10.5. This last year you've done what, 12.13? 11.8 billion. It's going up, and that is our intention. But it can only go up when you're prudent in the decisions you make. You don't just do it for the whims that it sounds nice to do 1, 2, 3. Those are management decisions, Chair.
Okay, let's make progress.
So 1.2.
1.1, you can read them simultaneous. 1.2, 1.3.
Now, or smart meters. If a country like UK, London uses mechanical meters, the meters are manufactured in UK and most of those European countries.
Maybe
you go to Amsterdam.
Let the governor read the response and then you can.
No,
it's about the.
It's just adding context to the issue of smart meters. He's saying
if you go to Amsterdam, which I know many of us go.
Before that, yeah. Please just speak for yourself, engineer. Speak for yourself.
Anyway, thank you. Thank you. If you Google where you are seated, and I believe everybody has a smart meter here. If you Google, you will find the smart phone. You will find Thames Water in London uses mechanical meters. You will find Waternet of Netherlands uses mechanical meters. And you will find many of those countries, they actually even started metering water 2012, not even.
Okay, so now that you have Googled, how many workers in those water companies have been set upon by dogs because somebody refused to open a gate in London? How does it happen there in Amsterdam?
Now, it doesn't happen in those countries because.
Yeah, so please compare apples to apples. The situation in London is totally different from our situation here.
The countries manufacturing the smart meters are not using them. That's the point the MD has made. They're manufacturing for people who would be excited by the word smart meter, but they are not implementing it. Chair 1.2.
Chair, I know we want to move to 1.2, but I always wear the blue hat in this committee, Governor. At the end of the day, this exercise must end on a resolved query. Are we getting it, Chair? It must end on a resolved query. So, Chair, I wanted a direction on how does the governor approach query number 1 in terms of documentary evidence that is supposed to be given to the auditor within watch time? Because while we might over-focus on the issue of access, we have also had, and that's why you have got EACC there, we've also had dubious bins where corrupt meter readers are also there. That will also be another issue. So in the absence of that documentary evidence, you take the verbal statement of the governor's officers as law, which is not necessarily always the truth. I'm not imputing any improper motive on the.
Is the issue of the corrupt water meters in the audit?
It is not, but it can also be a potential reason for the lack of access.
Okay,
okay.
Honorable
So
members.
if there's no direction on the evidence, documentary evidence as a direction, Chair, then this exercise in futility.
Okay, I think the governor mentioned that there are incident reports.
Incident reports in the logs.
So maybe we can ask the auditor. Auditor, you can try and sample out the incident reports for these accounts.
We would
And
want
then-
them to come physically.
Yes.
You can imagine how many there are.
There are many.
It's very, very bulky. you
So
know.
I think that's very important. Number two, we have directed that maybe the issue of legislation be looked at. Yeah. But this query remains unresolved because the auditor will continue raising it. So long as people, the estimated accounts are still there, I'm sure the auditor will continue raising it until the query is fully.
I think it would have been useful also to show cumulatively over the past few years, is this number going up or down? You know, because there's been tremendous progress. So this 15,000, which is 6%, is actually a great reduction.
So let me direct like this. The auditor, you will look at the incident reports, you look at, you analyze the trend from the other years to present and provide those reports to us maybe in the next 30 days.
Chad, they should not forget the update on the meters from the 15,000, what they have done so far, the ones that have been relocated and so on and so forth, and then they can give a time estimate on when they think all those 15,000 will be done.
Yeah, that's another, but that now will be a response from the county government. I see ESCC, you are trying to raise your hand.
Chair, I think for me it's just to find out in terms of prevention, because I see they mentioned the issue of self-reading, where they are sensitizing the customer to do the self-reading, which we are aware even KPLC has taken something similar. And I just wanted to find out maybe how it's done and the progress in terms of the uptake from the customers. Thank you. The other issue could be the issue. Yes, the second issue is the aspect of the estimate, whether the estimate is usually lower, or how do you ensure that the estimate is maybe higher than the actual reading, just trying to make sure it's higher, it's punitive, so that these customers can maybe come to the office to complain or something.
Now,
Yeah,
thank you so much.
You can proceed.
The chair.
The second bit may be one of the solution.
Uptake of self-meter reading. People are taking it up, particularly those who have gate locked or those who live in the informal settlements, where it's a bit difficult for us to assess the meters. So people are taking it up, and we also go to verify. Once you send your reading, we also, after 1 or 2 months, we go and verify. On the issue of estimates, we use 3 months actual estimates, actual readings, which were done in that account before, to make our estimates. And just like what His Excellency said, these estimated accounts, because I had also a member saying it's a loss of revenue. When you estimate, actually some of them pay based on those estimates. So we estimate and get also revenue out of it. Thank you.
His concern was through the chair that if the estimates, you do it higher so that they feel the pinch of paying more than when they open and then you read the meters. So have you considered making it higher?
Thank you so much. That's a new area we are going to explore of estimating so that somebody can show up. Yes. Thank you.
I think let's proceed to 1.2 and 1.3 at the same time.
Chair, just on that, any action taken by government must seem fair. Unless it's a penalty that is passed as a law, overestimating. If any person takes you to court, it will be very difficult to explain why you've done an additional charge as opposed to what you know this person has been paying, unless it's an actual penalty. So we can actually pass a penalty in the county government that then will serve the same purpose, but legally and for fair administrative action, you need to be able to explain how have you come up with this, and our 3 months, weighted average is something that is objective, and that anybody can say, okay, this is what has gone into it. Chair, on 1.2, the disconnection module of the billing system was not operational to enable tracking of disconnected accounts. The module was operationalized in the subsequent, in financial year 2024-2025. This will improve the disconnection of unpaid bill monitoring of disconnected accounts. Water service providers, for instance, and this is just an example, in Kiambu County, was not disconnected. We give them water, and we communicated non-payment of the water service provider bills to WASREB, which is the regulatory authority, to assist in collection of the same. And we've attached the letter to WASREB with the outstanding bills from other water service providers. We also seeded domestic accounts in Gudrai and Kaosukari to Kiambu County. These accounts were partly billed during the financial year. This also goes hand in hand, let me just give a comment, to government entities that are not paying. Yeah, we owed a total of 1.4 billion. If you look at it, Ministry of Defense alone owes us 121 million shillings. The police, 112 million shillings. Sports and culture, 22 million shillings, and so on and so forth. I can give you that detail. The water service providers for Kiambu is what I've listed there. That comes to 449 million shillings. Public schools, 168 million shillings, or to Nairobi Water. Transport Ministry, etc. Correctional, the jails, or 81 million shillings. And so that's also another area that we would want to work together with you to resolve. On 1.3, the list of 10,191 accounts queried by the Auditor General included 7,031 accounts that had already been de-enrolled or discontinued. The account status is D, and they are not active. In the same list, 465 accounts were in the application stage, that is status A, meaning they were in the process of being contracted. A total of 2,695 accounts had a status of current and were therefore active. So those are the ones which you can focus on. Analysis of these 2,695 accounts revealed the following. 1,149 accounts had their meters installed in the subsequent financial year. So of course they don't make it into the previous year statements. 683 accounts did not have meters installed by the time of analysis. The analysis was done in February of 2025. 863 accounts could not be billed due to various system technical controls, such as pending special work orders, which are only billed once the work order is resolved. So as of February 2025, this year, 1938 of the 2695 active accounts had been billed. I'll allow the MD or anyone else to give further context.
MD. Thank you so much. On 1.2, just like His Excellency has said, some of these accounts which are not which are billed but not paying. We have an example of 246 or 245 accounts of public primary schools, which even disconnect. Actually, Senator Sifuna, Mheshimiwa, he will be the first one to run to me saying that school must be reconnected. And all politicians in Nairobi, once they disconnect the primary schools, that's the first. They run to my office first. And they actually show clearly that the capitation they are receiving is not enough to pay for water. They are given, understand, 9 shillings to pay for water per student. So when you look at the volume of water the student uses in those primary schools, you cannot, unless you are very, unless us as a company, we now take over the, being very humane to the schools. The second one, many of the government institutions are not paying. The military has not paid since October last year, as an example. Before that, still they were not paying. If you try to disconnect, you cannot disconnect. The meters are guarded by, okay, you understand what I mean. Okay. You go to Moyam base, you cannot be able to disconnect. Now, I don't know how you, okay. No, how do I name the government and I'm also part of the government? It becomes very ironical. Actually, that's why we don't like some of these things in these reports. Okay. So when you come to number 1.3, also you will find there are some areas in 1.2, informal settlement areas. It's a cat and mouse game. You disconnect, they reconnect. If you disconnect, actually they go to the main line. They puncture the main line, they take the water without metering. So sometimes in some of the informal settlements, sorry to say this, we actually encourage them water to pass through the meter. I don't disconnect so that I can account for the water. Otherwise, what we would want to ask this assembly, the committee here to assist, is using the money you provide for the old people, the social money the government provides, and the equitable money. The government should be paying for water in the informal settlement. It's a better endeavor than giving people money there. Then they take alcohol, they kill themselves. So pay for water, you'll avoid people killing themselves with alcohol. You'll avoid waterborne diseases in the informal settlements. So the government should, instead of giving them cash, pay for water. We give them water, and many countries and many cities do that. Okay, so please assist us in that area. So some of these accounts you see, lend, not paying, there are many in the informal settlement. We actually encourage them to take the water through the meter. Okay. Number 1.3, just the way the report is written, we have actually accounted for the meters which were said to be active but non-billed. As of now, it's just 600 which we are contracting, or there are some technical issues which may not allow us to have connected them. So that one has been resolved. We have done the attachment to show the actions which have been taken.
Auditor, what is your comment?
Thank you, Chair. For paragraph 1.2, that was the position as at 30th June. However, we do not know the current status of the bills, whether some have been paid for or not. So we would have appreciated to receive the status of these bills, how much has been paid and how much are still not paid for. Again, on paragraph 1.3, we received a printout of several accounts. Our data was based on the period July to 30th June. But now we don't know what period this data relates to. So for us to be able to confirm this, and that's why we have said it's partially addressed, we need to access the system and go through it to see whether the data relates to that particular period. And report in the 2024-2025 financial report. Thank you.
Just a clarification, auditor. When you, as an auditor, says an account is active, what does that mean?
When we say an account is active, we mean that the account has been metered and somebody has been assigned to it for water consumption.
So, Chair, when the governor says of the 10,191 accounts queried by the governor, by the Auditor General, 7,000 of those accounts had already been de-enrolled. Governor, how can the auditor see an account being active for a whole 12 months, but according to you, that account is de-enrolled, whatever that means? How long does it take for you to, I don't know, to de-enroll an account?
Through the chair. In this report, we have indicated very well that in our system, the account is marked D, implying the account is in discontinued. But
so where is the auditor getting A? Where is he getting active?
Now, that's what you should tell us. Because if the account status is D, that's what it means. Possibly, I don't know whether the team did not explain that to you, or...
Did you have access to the system?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Yes, that time we had access to the system. And if for example, I refer you to the document that is provided here.
Yes.
You realize that whatever is being called disconnected, we have some, there are some accounts with meter numbers. There are others that do not have meter numbers, yet they relate to periods dating back to 2020, 2021. So we could not necessarily rely on this particular document that is here. But when the analysis was being done, it was being done through the system, in the whatever data that was in the system. And that's why I was saying, Honorable Chair, that we can only be able to go through the SQL once we access the same system, so that we are able to compare the data, what was there and what is currently there. But that is the outcome that was of the analysis. The outcome of the analysis that was carried out.
But does the explanation make sense? Because the system is available for you to access.
Honorable Chair, yes, it makes sense, but subject to confirmation in the system.
Chair, I'm just wondering, Auditor, the questions the Governor, the FD are asking you, did you have a sitting, an exit report where maybe those issues could have been addressed between you and the water company? Because it seems it's like you never engaged.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Yes, we had a sitting, and after the sitting, a management letter was issued. After the management letter, a second letter was issued. We call it draft audit report, and then the audit report. So, if there was anything to clear the issues, then it should have been provided during that meeting, or even during this time.
Chair, I think there's a confusion here that will answer Senator Sifuna's question. The document you're referring to right now, was this document given before the raising of the certificate or after?
Thank you, Chair. This is after.
After.
Yes. When they are
so
providing the response.
The audit query is based on the document that were given in the audit process. Do we have those documents? And at that time, were these 7,031 accounts reading A or D? That's what this Sifuna is asking. Because these are documents that must then be further examined by the auditor. Because the certificate has been raised, and we have said a number of times that once a certificate has been raised, we cannot undo that certificate. This document will only be important, in my view, in the subsequent year, unless I'm not clear with the audit process. But then it doesn't help with answering this query as is now, unless you're saying that we push this query to the next audit cycle. So my question is, were there documents that were handed to you and the system during the audit process? And at that time, were these 7,031 accounts active? That's the question.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, whatever is contained in the report is what came out from the analysis that was done on the system. So whatever is being provided here, I think I've even seen the responses. I think is an analysis done in February 2025, way after the conclusion of the audit report.
Okay. Chair, well, just one final clarification, because on this 1.2, there are these 23,000 accounts that were billed a total of 344 million, but the payment was not made. I have had an attempt by Engineer Muguna to hide behind school children. Has he provided you with a breakdown of these 23,384 accounts? Because the schools cannot be more than 200. And the security installations as he's talking about, I don't think they are more than 15 or 20. So do you have a breakdown of these accounts? And auditor, is it not possible for you, if there is controversy as to whether an account is active or not, can't you sample just one of those accounts or 5 of them and visit the place physically? Are you allowed to do that?
Yes. Yeah, it is possible. Thank you. It is possible for us to do that.
Because that's how you catch a liar. If they are saying that this account is discontinued and you suspect it is not, just pick 5 of those premises, that preferably the ones that don't have dogs, and then you pay a visit there. But do you have a breakdown of this 23,384 in query number 1.2?
And auditor, I also wanted, not auditor, governor. I've seen there is 3 WSPs for Kiambu County who drew water worth 547 million, which they have not paid. So I just wanted to know whether there is any agreement with these WSPs and whether you supply bulk water or it's metered water.
There are 3 of them: Karuri, Kiambu, Karuri Water and Sanitation, then there's Kiambu Water and Sewerage,
and Githunguri.
And then Githunguri. And of course, you know, our coordination is through the regulatory authority, that is WASREB. And we've attached correspondence between us and WASREB, but maybe the MD can give the details of that arrangement with them.
Yeah, MD, please.
Thank you so much, through the chair. Yes, these are county water service providers. We give them water through Mbauki meters. They sell or distribute, then they pay to us, but they rarely pay. And
so do you have an agreement
for them not to pay?
No, you have a signed agreement with them.
The accounts were open. The accounts were open many years back. I don't have a specific agreement at the moment, but these accounts were Kiambu Water has been existing since water started coming, since like, I think 1970, 73, when the first water started flowing to Nairobi through Kiambu. And when the system was being done, there was a provision to ensure Kiambu town gets water from the line bringing water to Nairobi. There was also a provision for Katundu to get water when the pipes are bringing water to Nairobi. And the accounts were opened those years under the defunct State Council of Nairobi.
So there is no agreement at all with them?
The connection is here of opening the document, opening the accounts themselves. It's an agreement.
Jay, do you have an agreement with the water you get at home? You're a customer. You're billed.
No, I'm imagining if it is, you know, the Water Act has that arrangement where you can supply bulk water as a WSP to another WSP.
Yeah.
Or you supply as a bulk water provider. So in that arrangement, there is a provision for an agreement.
Yeah, you see, the Water Act came way after we have been already supplying these places, because the Gatundu example, that is from Ngedu in the 1974 Ngedu. But I mean, if it's for good order, it would be nice for us to create new agreements. We would do that, but we've seen no need for it so far. Yeah. And actually, the Water Act, Chair, I wish we could get time to interact with yourself or maybe the relevant committee. There are a lot of provisions that are unconstitutional with respect to the devolved function of water. And some of those, in fact, speak to the second query. When you look at even how the tariffs are set, you know, like WASREB wants us to pay them 1.7 billion. and to charge 4%. You know, it cannot. It takes away the authority of the devolved entity in playing their mandate in the law. And remember that Water Act, I think it has been a bit controversial. So I think at the COG, the relevant committee is trying to engage, but I'll follow that up because we're really victims of all of that, Chair.
So I think you asked us, what can we do for you as a Senate? I think this is one matter that the clerk, because it is a communication that was sent to ASREB, and the amount involved is huge, 547 million. So I think we can intervene as a committee on this.
Yes, thank you.
We do a communication to ASREB on this matter. Clerk.
Chair.
Yes.
My question was regarding the deactivation that was done. So I'm just wondering whether it was done after the audit process. And also feel the CEO, many explanations should have been done to the auditors before, or, instead of, being done during this process, So I feel, there are many other things that we have even tackled before. We didn't have to tackle them here, but then just the deactivation, I was just wondering whether it was done after the audit process.
How is deactivation done? Deactivation is done this way. Take an example of you have apartments and you have realized that your tenants are not paying for water, so you amalgamate your accounts to one account. So you are left with the one active account, the other accounts are enrolled, so that now you start charging your customers direct, then you pay the water company for that water. This is something which has been happening all along, not the 2023-24 financial year, no. It has been happening in the past. So the system has this, that's why we have written this codes, which tells you active account D and the enrolled account this.
I think this query just relates to the communication at that time and not understanding what these things mean between ourselves, if you ask me. And again, the system is available for that checking to be done, Chair. Because 7,000 is compared to 10,000 is a very big number. And then also those in application stage. The smaller 465, but still it's that understanding. And I would want to know which officers were engaging at that point would have avoided this. And I think the management response should have had this as well. How it stayed to the final, I don't understand, because at that stage, access to the system was still available to the auditors. They could have accessed and confirmed, yes, we can see this is D. And in fact, this D has been amalgamated to create this new account. And it's happening a lot with a lot of the apartments and such places. So Chair, I think this is one of those that remained unnecessarily. This should have been, it's very straightforward, Chair, if you ask me.
Maybe Mark, I can hear from you, because I think that means during the audit process. I think a lot more communication needs to happen so that you pick all the necessary information you require.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I think the audit process enumerated under the Public Audit Act provides the client the opportunity to respond to any queries that are raised. During the audit, we are raising these queries with expecting responses. And after the audit, we also have the exit meeting, where during the meeting we are discussing the issues that are likely to appear. And if those are responded to then the Chair, those issues are considered addressed. We then do a management letter. Now this is in writing, where we say these are the issues that we have raised, please respond. And where the response is not given, Chair, that issue then goes finally to the draft report. The draft report basically shows these are the issues that are going to appear in your report. Do you have any supporting documents perhaps to address these issues? And it's at that point then that the the report appears in the certificate of the Auditor General. So, Chair, there is adequate opportunity to respond, and where that response is not given, that's when it appears in the audit report. Thank you, Chair.
Maybe the finance director can confirm and clarify on this specific response.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The finance director, the CEC water, you must be well acquainted with the PFM. I think section, is it 184? Legal. That requires continuous monitoring of financial performance of entities below you, and particularly the audit queries and the audit process. Proceed.
Thank you, Chairman. We did provide our response to the queries in the management letter and the draft audit report. The 10,191 accounts that are mentioned in the report, what we've printed and attached there, it is the same 10,000 relating to the same period, 2023-2024. So even what appears there as account status is for the period 2023-2024. This is something that the auditors can confirm should they access the system again, and it's still intact. Thank you.
So it seems that we're going to have a back and forth again on this matter. So I think we can just say that this query has to be looked at in detail between yourselves and the auditor, so that in the next financial year we get better communication on some of these things. So let's move to...
Yeah. What was the revenue loss as a result of this? Because this query, as we said, it impacts material uncertainty. And I think that we are handling it casually. Because that substantive difference between the auditor and the county, I think it's not a light one, because when you look at it in terms of the accounts, that is 7,000 accounts that are in dispute. In fact, there are not 7,000 accounts, because the governor is saying there was 2,695 that were those are the only ones that were active. So that means that the bulk of what the auditor has captured here as active accounts that were not billed. Is there an estimation of what that could have led in terms of revenue loss? Because it will inform how we handle this issue when you get to material uncertainty, because there are two approaches. One is go with the auditor's take, which is those 7,031 accounts that are in dispute were actually just not billed and they were active, in which case there will be revenue loss that must be accounted for. Or go with the story of the governor that these 731 accounts have been disconnected, which then will bring us into the question of how do we try and fill the gap for this in terms of revenue loss, which is justified, to get new accounts that then can be able to answer the question of cash flow. I don't know whether you're seeing my sense, because it directly impacts the query on material uncertainty. And we have to go with one story, Chair. We have to go with either the story of the auditor or the story of the governor on this particular query, 1.3. Otherwise, then we will glaze over the material uncertainty. It's a P&L question that then we will be tied again to what you'll see about 8 billion on non-revenue water.
Chair, first just to clarify, on this particular matter, I have the response that was done. The response done to the auditor was clear that from the list of 10,192 stated, 7,010 are discontinued and enrolled, hence will not be billed. And we gave that same explanation even then. Why it carried on, I can't understand, because we gave that explanation and the system was available, to be accessed. I think the direction you give on now moving from now, that they can come and look at it again, is good, because the steps that the auditor has read are steps known to all of us. But how a query remains there when you have explained and you have shown and you're available to give the data it completely beats me. I don't understand why. I don't understand. Because that's the response I've read out that was given. At the point of receiving that response, they could have said, no, we want to come and look at the system. Just to resolve it, because that is the essence of an audit, isn't it? And that's the stage it should have been done, Chair.
Chair, perhaps as the auditor is going to come into this, because there are two issues here we're going to look at: the issue of material uncertainty and the issue of non-revenue water, which is at 51%. And if you look at that in terms of absolute value, it's over 8 billion. That's not small amount of money. Auditor, were the 10,192 accounts, did they receive water? Let's walk a step back. Because they could be active, but they're not receiving water. For instance, when you see the governor attempt here to say that these 731 were discontinued, basically it means that they did not receive water. In your view, did all of them receive water?
Thank you, Chair. Our expectation is that because they were active, they were receiving water.
So you see the stalemate, Governor?
No, but we said they're not active. You see, if it's not active, it's not active.
I think the way forward, honorable members.
It's the D, the system says it's D, we printed out it's D, we answered and explained to you. Now, if you insist it's active, does it become active?
That's why we were saying you sample them. Just sample the accounts.
So, auditor, what you can do, sample of a few accounts and go and recheck and come back to us in 14 days. 14 days to be fair to them.
But even as we do that, as a Senate committee, and you're doing oversight, maybe you should give us clarity or direction on what happens on something that is materially should not be in a report. That information has been provided, an answer has been given, because you're also oversighting the Auditor General, that this audit query should not have appeared completely. So what happens when the auditor ignores information that is given on a specific query? What happens?
Thank you,
Because also the auditor can be wrong. You remember there's a time we came for an audit. I don't know what matter it was. It was SG. The issue of tankers. Tankers. And they almost made it look like we have how many? 2.4 billion. You remember that issue, and it was a material mistake by the auditor, but nothing happens. So it will be good for, as we move forward, for also everyone to know they have a responsibility, to follow those steps.
Because I am also audited, and we go through this every single year. I remember there was a time when the auditor was insisting that we should not disclose in our books how much money we expect from government under the law, because they're saying we are over budgeting and the revenues are not matching the budget. But when you sit with the officers from the Auditor General and you exchange correspondence, you will tell them you object to this being like this or stated like this, and then they will say, no, this is the reason why we're doing. You go through that process with them during the audit process, and you keep record. Because these matters cannot emerge. Of course, they can make mistakes.
That's why
but it is the responsibility of the entity that is being audited. You can demonstrate that you've provided documents. You can demonstrate that you disagree with the auditor's view by the correspondence that you exchange during the audit process.
That's why I've shown you the letter we wrote on that issue.
That's what I'm saying. So beyond that, really, I don't know what your expectation would be, Governor.
No, the committee should have a provision, as you give your report, also to sanction the auditor. Yes.
Chair, Honorable Chair,
Yes, I
You
mean,
will have
I
an
think we
opportunity.
did that. When we did the Public Audit Act, I was in Parliament. And the question that has always been there of who audits the auditor, came up. Of course, the National Assembly gets an entity because everybody must have a responsibility. These days, you find a sensational headline, either from the Control of Budget or the Auditor General. Then when you look at the crux of the matter, we're just eroding all public trust in institutions. So I was just saying it as a, by the way, it's not a material thing. But when we've given an answer, in all honesty, you have access to the system, yet you don't do your part, something needs to be done as well, Chair.
Fair enough, fair enough. So I think the auditors, I give you the 14 days, go and re-verify the information and come back to us on that query. But I'll give you an opportunity to say something. Auditor.
Thank you, Chair. What I want to mention is that sometimes you can include a report in the management letter and then the client responds without giving any support to that. Now, in the case that we have here, you will find that the data that we have been provided, we have received some analysis on the same, which has been done from the response in February 2025. So if this analysis had actually been done then it would have been provided then, and the auditor would have reconfirmed. So I doubt that this information was provided then. The figures would have been provided, yes, but the data to support those figures may not have been provided.
I've directed that you go and reconfirm and come back to us in 14 days. Yeah. So let's proceed to query on long outstanding trade and other payable. This is almost similar to that. To what we have covered, but it is about people who have not paid 4.1 billion. Auditor?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Long outstanding trade and other payables. The statement of financial position, and as disclosed in note 29 to the financial statements, reflects trade and other payables balance of Kenya shillings 5 billion 344 million 30,050. However, included in the balance are trade and other payables balance of Kenya shillings 4 billion 144 million 716,223, which had been outstanding for more than 180 days. In the circumstances, the accuracy, validity, completeness of trade and other payables balance of Kenya shillings 4 billion 144 million 716,223 could not be confirmed. Thank you.
Sorry, these are payables. These are people who are owed. So, Governor, you can respond.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, again, the number looks big. Let me answer what I wrote first, then I can give context. As observed, the company's payables stood at 5.3 billion, which includes 2.2 billion owed to NAP Trust. That accumulated from the actuarial deficit and interest, and the company was at that time pursuing a loan to settle that amount. 1.7 billion was release fees and 490 million were abstraction fees. Well, the difference of 900 million is what now relates to people who have been paid, relates to trade payables, which is approximately within the credit period. The current tariff is not responsive to inflation and cost recovery. However, we're engaging WASREB for approval of a new tariff that is that has cost recovery and responsive to inflation. We're also putting mechanisms, just to keep improving revenue. So, Chair, just two parts to that. One, the 2.2 billion is an old debt about the lab trust. And that was a lab trust DB fund, which is closed, defined benefit fund. At that point, the company was pursuing a facility, and we had given them authority, but I withdrew that authority because the circumstances around that interest, was not prudent. I also withdrew because at that point I'm aware, and we're still ongoing, over debt swap that we are pursuing with the national government. That debt swap, as of the last meeting we had, there was an issue of valuation. This relates to our land that the Supreme Court said belongs to us. So we expect 75 billion shillings that we can have in different tranches that for one date they will do a swap, for another date they will pay us over time, for another one there's what we owe the national government. So that process is ongoing, and we should have a meeting actually this week to conclude. And so that is why I made the decision that it's good to save the county getting into debt, taking a loan, yet there is an impending process that can provide for you those resources. This 1.7 billion WASREB lease fees is part of what I'm saying is completely unconscionable. Like it is, I don't know how WASREB expects water service providers to operate when they ask for 4%.
4% of your revenue.
They're asking for 4% of your revenue. They have sat themselves, they have decided this is what they'll charge, and for doing nothing, Regulation or providing regulatory, whatever function they do, has no correlation with revenue. Because they look at governance, they look at processes, they look at whether you're following the law. So that is something that we dispute. And I don't think the people of Nairobi would want us to pay 1.7 billion to a regulatory body. Yet 1.7 billion can be used to take water to Nyati Court and all these places that are underserved. So this is something we completely feel should not be what counties are charged. They can have a management fee that WSPs pay, a specific fee just for the administration, because WASREB doesn't build dams, they don't do anything, I mean, beyond what their mandate is. Of course, I acknowledge the good work they do within their mandate. In fact, now we're negotiating with them a new tariff discussion, we're still in that process for a new water tariff. So the actual amount, Chair, this Warma obstruction fees, I'll let the MD talk about, I'm not clear on the 490 million. The 900 million is what was payables, but we felt they're within the credit period, Chair. So it is not 5.4 billion owed to business people and hustlers. It is, as I've broken it down. The 1.7, I hope you can assist us, another WSP, 4% of revenue. From an entity providing service, we're not a profit-making entity, but an entity providing service to people, whether it is Nairobi, Water, Kiambu, Muranga, etc., I think is completely off and should not be allowed by this House. Thank you, Chair. Maybe MD can expound kindly.
Thank you so much. Let the MD expound, and then the auditor you comment, then members you come in.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. Waroma, when we actually abstract low water from the rivers, we also buy that water from Water Resources Authority. That's the money which which has accrued without us paying the full amount. But every month, again, we give Water Resources Authority 10 million shillings every month. From the revenue we collect, we give them 10 million shillings to pay for the water which we abstract from the rivers. So again, just like the governor is saying, I do not understand why we pay with that kind of money instead of extending services actually to the people of Nairobi, or not only Nairobi, any other county. So some of these fees should be actually scrapped by the Senate or Parliament so that we can provide services. This is money we collect from the citizens direct. We should plow back that money to the citizens through service provision. Or rather, what is happening is we are giving the national government money, then we again come here to cry that we are unable to provide the service, we need subsidies from the national government. Again, this money you can see here, the 900 million, is the kind of the institutions, national government institutions, water service providers, who give water, they don't pay. This is the money which is pending as unpaid. When you look at the normal domestic customers, the amount pending is very low from them. Thank you so much.
Chair. Let me give to the auditors first. Auditor, your comments on the response.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. This was the position as at that June 2024. What we have not received is a document to show how much of this has been recovered, including 900 million being mentioned there. So we don't know whether it was current because we have not seen how much has been paid as of now. Thank you.
Okay, Governor, I want to agree with you on the issue of WASREP. This committee we are actually finalizing a report on the issue of the water sector. And one of the things we are questioning is WASREP fees. Because WASREP is a national government entity. Why would the county governments be the ones to finance WASREP? Yet is a national government entity. So we have issues there, which this committee is trying to address on that. So maybe you can, as one way of helping you can do a formal correspondence to this committee on that matter so that we can pick it up. Let me start. He was first to request.
So, first, Governor, we want to assure you that on that particular issue, we are with the governors on this one. Those of us who believe in devolution proper, first of all, do not believe that this institution should even exist. Because if water is a devolved function, I don't even know what you are doing negotiating with them. You as a county entity or county government should be the one to set the rates for the products. There was an even greater conversation in the Senate one time that we get a lot of our water from, say, Muranga. We should be paying Muranga that money for that abstraction and not this national government, if indeed Muranga can claim that the water belongs to them. But we know that the water does not belong to them. It just happens to be there. But my... Yes. I'm being told it came from Nyandarua. It was just passing through Muranga. I don't know how true that is. But my issue is sometimes, Governor, you use language that is very deceptive here. When you say that the current tariff is not responsive to inflation and cost recovery, what are you saying? And when you say you want review of tariffs in Nairobi, can you say with a straight face that you want Nairobians to pay more for the water? Engineer Muguna is saying that we, the domestic users, are actually the best in terms of payments. So why do you want to punish us by reviewing the tariff upwards?
Review? No one has said upwards, Senator.
Are you saying downwards?
First of all, no one has said upwards.
So are you saying downwards?
It doesn't have to be up or down.
Sure.
It is how a tariff has components.
Yes.
Yeah. There are different variables that create a tariff. That is all. You remember we have had the discussion on Green Nairobi company that is supposed to get a percentage from the water tariff without necessarily making it more or higher. That's the discussion we're in. Nairobians pay for their water very well. And even several breweries. And the South Africa breweries are taking, is it a sixth of our water? 100 million liters per day, yet we have 600. So sometimes, I was wondering why are we giving breweries so much water, but still, it's our citizens still who drink the product from there. Nairobi Bottlers is number 2, Kenyatta University number 3. They are paying, so that's not the issue. But the issue was this issue of now WASREP wanting us to pay them 4% of our revenue. I think that should be, and I will write, Chair.
That one we are on agreement, so can you just state for the record, the people of Nairobi should not expect higher water tariffs?
No, you can't box me to say that, to make an announcement.
That's what you have said.
No, I've said what I've said. I've said what I've said, Senator. Don't get an announcement, but when we want to announce the tariff, it will be announced.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
My concern was, we, the users of the water,
yeah,
you've confirmed yourself, we just want you to insulate us from higher tariffs when you are doing this negotiation. As we fight for you, you leave WASREP to us, but you make an assurance to...
Senator, I'm also a good politician. I have said what I've said.
And we have also noticed what you have refused.
Exactly, yes. That's good.
Resolution of the Senate on payment of monies that were pending to Trust and Love Fund. Wasn't there a resolution of the Senate to give timelines for the payment of that?
Yes, in fact, that's what I wanted to raise with the governor. We had we had an inquiry, a full inquiry done by this committee on the issue of outstanding pension, where counties owe pensioners close to 80 billion shillings. So this matter was serious. We did a resolution of the House. We recommended the creation of a task force by by Treasury. Treasury has created the task force. The task force has collected views from all the counties, but they have not submitted the report to us yet because they said they have not met Nairobi County.
That is not true. I've met them.
And your bill
I have
is,
met them, Chair.
Your bill is 8.7
and in fact, Chair, I have guided them on how to rehabilitate something called actual deficit.
Yeah.
The maths that they were using is completely wrong from professional point of view. Actual deficit cannot be charged at the same time as the interest, especially when an entity is engaging. And just that alone, my intervention at the 14th floor of Treasury has almost halved what these companies are asking counties. Chair, I remember I was the chairman of Labour in this house.
Yeah.
And that discussion started then. In fact, at some point, we had proposed a conditional grant to counties to be able to address the issue of the verified outstanding amounts in pensions. As we speak, I'm also the chair of human resource at the COG. So it's something I'm very well seized of. And Nairobi's position is that we want to offset it in a way that is not going to create more debt to the city, which had been the loan. So the task force should not use that as an excuse. I've sat with them. In fact, after the meeting, they asked me to do for them a paper because I think we educated them a bit. The problem was that what was being proposed by the actuaries of the companies, or rather of the institutions that are owed. So you see, it was skewed towards them. And I'll give you an example. In Nairobi, we cleared, for instance, I've cleared my entire lab fund debt, which is a milestone. I've cleared the principal, but the interest is still there. So now I'm only paying interest, yet somebody is going to come and claim actual deficit. Professionally, that's not how it's supposed to be done. And so we're engaging with them. But the point is that we wanted ours cleared by way of that swap. And number two, I have attended that task force and we've engaged very positively. That time it was chaired by Albert Mwenda.
So Governor, we have seen your colleagues do agreements with these institutions. Makueni is the most recent example that I can remember. Do you have agreements with these institutions on how we are going to clear these debts?
No.
Because if it's just statements of intent, then they are not helpful to us.
So the outcome of that process is to now present the new bill, what amount it is. As I told you, we've almost halved based on that reclassification that we've done within the task force. When I went to, I think, who did I go with? Charles Kerich, yeah, and some members of my team. So you do an agreement based on now what they're saying, okay, based on this is what we owe you, or rather you owe us.
So what stage is that process?
There's a task force, I don't know, it's under Treasury. Once they conclude, then they will have now a figure that they are claiming from us. That is what we are waiting for.
So actually we have invited the CS twice to appear before us and table the final report, which has a number of recommendations, including having debt settlement agreements with those companies, including even conditional grant from the national government, and also including having a bond that can be given to counties to clear, and then they pay back. So there is a raft of recommendations.
And Chair, I'll ask you to be really keen on that. Without imputing any improper motive, some of these institutions have in the past used that issue of the debt to get assets from counties, to untwist counties. You need to protect how the debts are sorted out. And if we had time, I would come and give some recommendations when it comes to that. It happened in Nairobi, in previous administrations. They gave out, which estate is this? Mariakani estate. And they have not even been able to recoup yet. the potential of partnering with these institutions to create a bankable project that then has beneficiaries, both the county and your debt is sorted out, is huge because they have a lot of liquidity, Chair. So that's the direction you should take. Okay. An engagement with them, for instance, Your Excellency, sorry, yeah, but also Your Excellent, you're becoming a governor. I can give you an example of a project we're looking at around the CBD with them that would cost maybe around 9 billion, but we do it as a joint venture. Even urban renewal, housing, if we go into joint ventures with these funds, one, they're able to adhere to the RBA ratio of assets and liquidity. Number two, they're able to ensure the pensioners have, assured income over time, because that is what is most important. And three, you don't burden counties. That is what my proposal would be on that regard.
Chair.
Yes. Proceed.
Chair, long outstanding trade and other payables is usually the audit query here is that they are not within the credit period, which is the outstanding more than 180 days. What the auditor is trying to allude here is very simple. Are they being considered fast charge? Because that is what should happen, given that, again, I still go back to the issue of material and material uncertainty. But Chair, the response here with what in the financial statements do not tally. And I want us to go to note 8. I mean, not 29 of the financial statements, so that perhaps you can just help me understand some things, Governor, here. Because I believe that the financial statements are not prepared by the auditor. From the signing, I can see here it is signed by Paul Omondi, Chairman Arnold Karanja, and MD Nashan Muguna. Those are the people who signed this financial document, isn't it, Governor? So let's go to note 8, not two. I don't know what I'm saying. Note 8, note 29. So in note 29, the trade and payables is 2.7 billion. Is that so, Auditor? Yes. I just want to be sure that this is the document that you received from the Governor.
Yes, Chair.
The gratuity accrued is 79 million. The employee payables is 2.3 billion. And then other payables is 116 million. I leave here confused. I don't know who you're owing, Governor. Because what you have given here and what the people who organized these finances did here are two different things. The only thing that is standing here is perhaps the outstanding amount that is observed by the auditor, which is 5.3 billion. But based on the audited finances, it's different.
Chair, Senator Sifuna said something very useful, that when many people here are not accountants. Let me just ask my finance director to explain to you very slowly what each part of this means.
Fine. That's fine.
You must protect us from the governor.
Oh, you're the one who introduced that.
Now he's casting aspersions as to our ability to comprehend. Financial
Okay, let's go the way he wants it. Let's go the way he wants it. There's no problem. Let's go just slowly as you want us to go through.
Proceed.
Even I am also not an accountant.
Accountant, proceed.
Thank you. Through the chairman, note 29, trade and other payables. We are looking at the column 2024. So the first one is trade payables, 2.7 billion. The 2.7 billion includes WASREB, that is in the response, includes WRA, which is in the response, that is Water Resources Management Authority, and the other sundry debtors. We've lumped them together. That is a 2.7. The schedules of the same are available. Gratuity accrued.
Can we have the schedule?
Yes, the schedule can be provided.
Is it in this financial statement?
Schedules are ordinarily not attached to the financial statements. They are provided at the time of audit.
Auditor, did you receive the schedule?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Yes, the schedule supporting the balances have been received. They were received during the audit.
Do we have them here?
No, they are not there. Because the
Okay.
issue was the
They
issue
don't need
of
to.
the.
They don't need to be here. Those ones are provided during audit process.
No, because they don't tell you with what you are saying, but continue.
Thank you. Gratitude accrued.
Sorry, Chair. What is not tallying with what?
Your explanation under your responses. Okay?
Is not tallying with what?
With what is officially in your financial document.
But it is. Where's the difference? How much is the difference?
We
5.3 and we're talking about 5.3. We're saying that 5.3 is all of these involved. 2.7 is in there. The 1.7 is in there. Sorry, 2.2 for 90. It's all part of it. Then the balance of 900 is what is owed to suppliers and within the credit period. Unless I'm not understanding, Chair.
Just a simple illustration, Governor. On that, those notes, note 29, there is employee payables of 2.39, right?
Yes.
Would that be the amount that you say is due to LAP Trust?
That is LAP Trust, the 2.2, it's actually 2.236. There is LAP Fund, and there is Madison.
Now, the reason why our math is not mathing is you did not include any of those two other entities you have talked about in that response. That's why Eddie is saying it is not adding up.
Oh, now I understand.
So I think it is you to be explained to slowly, Governor, where our
Full
confusion has
disclosure.
come from. Because for us, we saw.
So what's the question?
So the question was in the responses, when you're itemizing, in the responses you are itemizing, you should be able to itemize so that the figures tally, add up to what is in the financial statements. That's what Eddie was saying. So you left out those two institutions. You said which one and which one?
LAP Fund and Madison.
Yeah,
However,
so
I
in
may
your response, Governor, you will see there's no reference to those two.
the debt owed to LAP Fund and Madison are current. The ones you mentioned in the response are the ones that are beyond 180 days.
Where is the 180 days?
So in the response, just include everything so that that confusion can be sorted out, because the figure is 2.2 here and 2.39.
No. We're not including everything. The question is, what is beyond 180 days? That is why we've mentioned those that are beyond 180 days.
Chair, I think the issue here is, as we have said, we are also not experts. I think the issue is language. Because if you look at it's long outstanding threats and other papers. And the governor and his team are saying they did not include those that are below 180 days. So basically, we should not belabor on issues that were not raised by the auditor.
Exactly.
Yeah. And there is a detailed analysis on majority of those payables. Okay. And
Where is that, Chair?
40 I think under note 40. Okay.
I can't see that, Chair, but
We have made a reference to 40, not 40. Risk management objectives and policies. 40 I, credit risk. It's not relating. It's not really. Okay. So So what we have said is that as we wait for the correspondence from the county, we will try to intervene on the issue of 1.7 billion to WASREB, 2.2 billion to Lab Trust. It's a process that is already ongoing. We are waiting for the report from Treasury, and we'll be able to help the county on that.
On the WASREB and the WARMA, maybe what they need to do as a Council of Governors, they need to raise issue on the regulations, because I believe the percentages are in the regulations, so that, you know, we can review, you know, we can make amendments on this.
Yeah, that will be done by the delegated legislation committee. They can do a request to the delegated legislation on the amendment of regulations.
The certain came up with them. They didn't even come to Parliament. As they should, yeah. Maybe that is a way.
So let's move, honorable members. I'm seeing time is not on our side. So though we have 20 paragraphs to cover, we are only going to, after discussing with the clerk, we are only going to pick the key queries. That's a query on lack of land ownership documents. Then there is a query on trade and other receivables. And then there is a query on material uncertainty relating to going concern. There is a query on unaccounted for non-revenue water. And then there is an issue on unsustainable wage bill. Yeah, so we do those, and then we'll clear for the day. But I'm going to suggest that we have a health break for 5 minutes. When we come back, we start with a query on lack of land ownership documents. 5 minutes.